results are also out from the British company Amec. It turned in a first-half net profit of £79 million, with sales up 4%. Now, for more on these earnings, let's hear from Amec's Chief Executive Officer. Thanks for being with us, Samir Brikho. Now, in terms of what we've seen overall, there's so much concern about a slowdown in growth in general and the impact that will have on companies overall. Is it going to be much more difficult for you in the next 12 months than it was in the previous 12 months?
Well, it's definitely, there are a lot of uncertainties in the markets, whether it is actually on the financial issues or even whether it is on the environmental issues. I cannot control the economy, but what I can do is that I actually try to do a good job. Unfortunately, I try to do the good job, let's say, on what we're doing at Amec. And for us, the focus is about how are we able to create more value to our customers, how are we investing more in our people, and that is working like for us as a twin pillar for our growth strategy. So we're growing the company and it looks good.
But how concerned are you, for example, about cost inflation, and will you be able to pass on higher costs to your producers or to your customers over the next 12 months?
Definitely, because of the business model which we are in, we do a lot of work on a cost-plus basis and a reimbursable against KPI. So we have a continuous discussion with our clients and to see about how are we able to reduce our costs, and I can move that part of the cost, of course, to my clients. But we need to work with our clients to see about how are we able to reduce the total job.
What is your order backlog looking at the moment?
Well, the order backlog continues to be strong. We have more than 3.5 billion on that one, so that continues as good as it was.
So, Brikho, how concerned are you about your shares? Because they're down some 20% from May. How do you explain that? And is there anything that you can do to actually break the trend? Do you need to increase your dividend? Do you need to speak more to shareholders? Or is it just a matter of fact that actually there's so much volatility out there that it's a way of life?
Well, my job is actually to manage a company rather than, in a way, manage the markets. I cannot do that, even if I want to. But what I think is very important for us is that we are creating, let's say, value to our all stakeholders. And by doing so, at the moment, we have increased our dividend with 40% year-on-year basis, which I think is a very good set of results. And what we are doing is that through the discussion which we are having with our shareholders to see about how are we able, let's say, to create more value.
I wanted to also ask you, in terms of the biggest risk, the global economy, are you expecting a double-dip recession? And if so, what are the chances that this will actually happen in the next couple of months?
Well, there is a lot of discussion out there about which countries maybe go for a double dip and maybe some other countries will not go for a double dip. In our business, we see that the main puller in this industry, you see that coming out from the emerging market, like in China, like in India. And as you've seen, they're going almost for high single-digit, almost for a double-digit growth, even this year too. But then they need to face with the inflation, as you see in China, for instance, with 6.5% inflation per year. So this is where the drivers are. So some of the sectors which we have been working on, they have been going very well. Look on the mining sector. The mining sector has been growing up year-on-year basis almost to 25 to 30% basis, which is great. If you look on the power and process, despite what happened in Fukushima, we still need to do a lot of work on conventional power plants, renewable power plants, and so on. So that's
so there is still a lot of work, of course. I wanted to ask you just a very quick question also on Steve Jobs, because as a CEO, it must be on your mind succession plans and the concern that you have to absolutely be sure that there's a stable plan, whatever happens, because otherwise the markets will, again, you punish the stock or just be uncertain. What has this enlightened you or has this concerned you about the way that your company can move forward?
There is no question that the succession planning is a responsibility of the board and the chief executive to ensure that we have the right depth in the organization. And I think everybody agreed that Steve Jobs is an icon in this industry. He has made a fantastic job. And he will not be substituted by one person. He needs to be substituted by a team. And then we need to take it from there.
But he was right to step down. It's an ethical question.
I cannot make that judgment. But for us at Amec, we have been working very hard in the last 4.5 years in order to establish a very strong team who has that depth in order to be able to cope with any, let's say, uncertainties in the market.
All right, Samir Brikho, thank you so much for joining us today.